Hi, I'm Kirk Elliott with Scott Traylor. We're the RacinBoys at Lucas Oil Speedway. It's Media Day in preparation for the 2012 season, which kicks off in a couple of weeks with the Lucas Oil MLRA on April the 14th. And Scott, lots of members of the media here, and everybody's excited about the new season.
And none more than Forrest Lucas. You had a chance to talk to him just a few minutes ago, Kirk, and he was pleasantly surprised with the amount of people that showed up for this press conference from Springfield, Kansas City, and all surrounding areas. Dan Robinson and Forrest Lucas doing a great job promoting this great facility.
And just every type of series and every type of race car will be competing here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Let's take a look at some of the press conference held a little bit earlier.
We're in Missouri because I was very interested in the cattle industry. I used to do that when I was a kid, working my way through school, showing cattle. Knew it was all done wrong. So I promised myself someday if I ever got a chance, I'd come back and do it right. Do it my own way. Consequently, we have about 15,000 acres of ranch land here, and one of the biggest registered cattle herds in the United States. And we do some very serious cattle breeding, very, very serious cattle breeding. We sell a lot of breeding stock to other people. That's growing as fast as the oil. So that's a dream sort of come true. It's happening. And coming to Missouri is my game of golf. Getting to be here with all the guys and just ride around on pickup trucks and four-wheelers and look at stuff and say we need to do this and need to do that. We've got bulldozers going all the time. Between the ranch and this together, we are definitely the biggest employer in the county. But we did something here. We went overboard with the racetrack to the point that we thought this thing's never going to pay off. So we spent a lot of money on it, wanted to make it the best it was. Actually, we started out, we was going to build the nicest women's restrooms in the country and build a racetrack around it, but we kind of got carried away. So we ended up with what we have, and although it was a huge investment, it's something for Missouri to be very proud of. Anybody comes here knows this is the best. By adding the boat drag strip to it, as he said, it's the very first one. We have the boat drag race series, which you may or may not know about. But we've been racing on ponds and lakes and rivers. Had a lot of guys getting killed. We're getting more and more popular, so it's growing fast. Getting more of the top fuel classes. So we decided we would build the first real racetrack where we can control the water, control safety, control the depth. We have the best safety crews in the world, but if they're a long ways from the boat and they don't know the depth of the water, sometimes it's hard to get to everybody. So there's no reason anybody getting killed here anymore. We already proved it worked. Now we're hoping some other people, other places will have us come and build in one because we can do it ourselves. We have our own equipment, our own people, did it all. The money that we've made, we put a lot back into racing. There's a lot of racing series that would be dead right now if it wasn't for us. And you ask any racer and they'll tell you that. Especially in these hard times since 2008 when the world fell apart, a lot of these racing series just went broke. We picked them up, cleaned them off, put them on television, and made them successful. So a lot of our main events for all these races we have here. It's perfectly wired for television, and you'll see us racetrack on television a lot. That's the reason we kind of did it over the top, to make sure we had real good lights, good sound system, the best of everything here. We got an award from Bose for having the #1 Bose sound system in the world. Got Musco lighting, as he said. We have the big screen. Everything you'd expect from a big NASCAR track we have right here in Wheatland.
I understand you have plans for a drag strip, and I just wondered what the status was on that and what the time frame was to get that completed, if that's in the program.
When we did all the dirt work out here, and you see there's a lot of dirt work, a lot of it was for camping. There's room for thousands of campers out here. Matter of fact, there's about 40 acres of woods back there with trails through it, a place where people can even camp in there, and there's ponds and everything. But we put we laid the base for it out there with the idea that when we come back, when we want to, It's all there. All we got to do is, I shouldn't say all we got to do because it's a heck of a job putting out a perfect pavement. You got to have a perfect pavement or concrete for drag racing, and then you got to get into all the other things, the buildings that go with it, the cleanup stuff. It's a huge expense to start it, and I want to see these other things get started first, you know, before we get into that, because right now my plate is full, sir.
Scott, you just get the feeling that, I mean, this racetrack has been here for quite a while now, but there's still the feeling of newness here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Well, and you look at all the capital improvements they do continuously here with the drag boat facility. They're going to have a pavement drag strip in here. Ultimately, they've got the short track for the go-karts and the dirt track. It's amazing what they've done with this facility, but it's also amazing on what Forrest Lucas has done for motorsports in general. You think about it, the Lucas Oil Late Model Series, the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series, you've got drag boat racing, off-road racing. Forrest Lucas has his hands in all forms of motorsports.
And General Manager Dan Robinson's done such a great job of building up a stellar schedule. We'll be talking with him here in just a few minutes. But first, here's Scott's interview with Forrest Lucas, the owner of Lucas Oil Speedway.
Joining us here on RacinBoys is the founder of Lucas Oil Products, Forrest Lucas. Forrest, what a turnout today with the media. You got to be pleased.
I'm very pleased. It was way more than I expected, but there was everybody from the whole side of the state was here, I believe.
Yeah, it says a lot about your track and the interest that it is created here in the Midwest.
Yeah, we are really starting to get some traction now, especially after putting in the boat drag strip. That got a lot of big-time television, and you know, it just added to it. Now we got the nicest dirt track in the country. Now we got that, the first made for real boat drag strip. As you can probably tell, there's somebody practicing on the track right now.
Got the two-seater out there on the track right now as we speak to you, and I must say that your passion for motorsports is second to none. I think most people will recognize that since you've got into the sport and since you started Lucas Oil Products back in 1989, you've been able to keep that passion. How do you do that?
Well, I made it a business. You know, it's a fun business to me. It's helped all the local racers. You know, and I'm sort of a local guy at heart. You know, right. So it helped them, and I think it's helped America because there's nothing more American than Saturday night racing.
There's no doubt about that, and the kind of cars that you bring here, not only cars, you bring modified sprint cars, late models, Lucas Oil Late Model Series, the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour, but now drag boat racing. That's a new, something new for us here in the Midwest.
It is new here, and when we started that, it didn't have a lot of legs, very little legs at all. In fact, most of the racing series we got didn't have a lot of legs, but that one, we found that and overseas, people really liked it. So we sell a lot of our racing shows overseas. People liked it over there, and the more we did to it, the more we made it better, the more people liked it here. So by having this track here where you can get the sponsors in the background, which you got to have to take care of the sponsors, they got to have some attention too, and you kind of have a camera everywhere you want it instead of having to be out on a little island somewhere. And it's safe. You know, we've lost a lot of drivers the last few years. Right. This way here, it'd be really hard to lose somebody here. So that is going to be a big thing. We hope we can replicate in a lot of other places where we have some other landowners who want to have a drag boat series in their place when we get out of the creeks.
I know a lot of people always ask you about the pavement drag strip, and we know your passion, obviously, with NHRA, and we've seen you at Heartland Park Topeka. One of my favorite stories about Forrest Lucas is when we were up at Heartland Park Topeka for the Summer Nationals, and we're standing down there at the burn-off area, and I look across the way, and there you are standing there with rubber all over your face, right in the trenches. I mean, you love that NHRA, don't you?
I do like NHRA. I like the top fuel cars. They're a good bunch of people, just like here. You know, most racers are nice people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anytime you got a car in it, you know, it makes it a big deal. So especially now, my son, you know, and you know, Hector Rano and his son, and Brandon Bernstein, he's driving one of our top fuel cars. So anytime you got skin in it, it becomes a lot bigger deal. Yeah. And but I do like watching it for sure.
You're not opposed to getting behind the wheel of a rail too. I know you did a little sand drag racing as well, didn't you?
I did. I was playing around. My wife, I still let her drive, and once in a while, her car goes to all the races, all the big races, right, where Morgan goes, and if she can make it, all right. But she had a little neck problem last year, so we kind of put it on hold for a while, but
Yeah.
she can still go out. I'll probably let her do some more.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I got to ask you, we're the broadcasting partner with Lucas Oil for the Lucas Oil ASC Sprint Car Dirt Series presented by MAV TV, and that leads me into my next question. MAV TV, making a big push this year with MAV TV. I know we are with our broadcast. Tell us a little bit about that venture.
It was a little television station, independent. There's not very many independents left because the big guys have bought up all of them, but the federal government insists that there be a few independents. But most of them are just little do-nothing sort of things. But we funded this for 3 years and then finally just bought it, because the people had it weren't doing anything with it. So we just took it over. Well, we went into it with knowing that we were going to eventually own it. So we're fixing it. We're changing all the programming around, putting real good programming on it, putting all of our racing on there for one thing if you want to watch it. But we got a lot of other really good shows, movies, stuff to go on it. And to make it a lot of one-off shows, so they'll have some special stuff of their own that nobody else can see anywhere, that you can't find anywhere else.
I've worked with your guys at Lucas Oil Productions. They're first class, quality production, as good as anybody in the industry.
Yeah, we got real good guys in there, good equipment. You can't get any better than what we've got, or people. We got our own production trucks. We come into a place like this, pull up, and nobody can do it any better than we can do it. And we can probably do it better because we understand it. You got somebody like me in the background saying, wait a minute, you're missing this or missing that, or you got a dirt spot over there. I critique the heck out of this stuff. I'm not trying to take all the credit for our racing, but I'm the biggest critic of all.
Pretty hands-on is what you're saying.
I'm hands-on, yeah.
That's okay. That's good. Leadership from the top is always a good thing. Before I let you go, I've got to talk to you about our relationship with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. Emmett Hahn and yourself have been partners now for going on the 4th year. Talk about that relationship just a little bit.
Well, Emmett's a great guy. He reminds me a lot of myself. He's a hands-on guy. You can believe anything he tells you. He wants to make it work. He's not trying to, rip anything off. He's just a great guy, and he's really growing his series because I think the other big series is kind of going down, and he's picking it up and growing it. So I'm glad to have you guys on board with that. That's before we opened this track here. First time we had sprint car races, we didn't think anybody would show up. Well, it actually wasn't a lot, but then they came a lot more next year. Now it's become one of our major races.
I got to ask you one other question. You've owned more than one racetrack, and are you in the business of buying any more racetracks? It's a tough economy right now. It's hard to get into this industry as a promoter or a track owner. Is that something that you might look into down the road a little bit, owning some more tracks in this area maybe?
No, not really. Not at this point in time. Right? We got our hands full here. We just want to be able to, take care of this one. And I don't want to spread us any thinner than we are, because we're really building the off-road series out in the West. We're building that.
Well, we always hear rumors, and I will tell you there's a track in Kansas City called I-70 Speedway, and I don't know how many times I've heard, we're hearing that Forrest Lucas is buying the track out in Odessa, and it's a big, piece of land, 285 acres, and a big old legendary track. But I just wanted to kind of squash that rumors to some of the people that, view RacinBoys.
You can squash it. I've had a lot of opportunities to buy it, but that's a whole nother big venture that I dare say we could probably make work, but I've only got so much time, and I've needed a whole lot.
Spread out already, a little thin, right?
Spread out, pretty thin, yeah.
Well, Forrest, again, thanks so much for what you do for motorsports and RacinBoys, and again, being our partner with the Lucas Oil National Tour, because it means a lot. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, I'm glad to be part of it. Thank you very much.
All right. That's Forrest Lucas. Now let's send it over to Kirk Elliott, who's caught up with Dan Robinson.
Thanks, Scott. Dan, the opening of the 2012 season is upon us, and you all ready to go?
Yeah, we're getting really close, April 14th, so just a couple more weeks.
And that's a big event coming up here on opening night, too, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have the Lucas Oil MLRA, and then 750 to win Moz and 500 to win factory stocks. Just nothing like opening with a big show to start it out.
Well, let's kind of highlight some of the special events that you've got coming up this year. Kind of take us from April. You already mentioned the opening night event with Lucas Oil MLRA. What about some of the other big events? And, of course, we got the drag boat facility here.
Yeah, one of the most exciting events I think this year will be on May 5th. We're going to have the Speedway Motors Warrior Region and the Lucas Oil National Midget Series here on the same night for the Impact Signs, Awnings, and Wraps Open Wheel Showdown. And then, of course, we'll hit May with the Show Me 100, the Dart Show Me 100, so that should be a huge show.
And that's been a sellout crowd for the last couple of years, so standing room only here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such, an event steeped in tradition, and we've got the greatest drivers, and the big purse brings in a lot of people.
And, of course, the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series. And we've already talked about the Lucas Oil Late Model Series with the Diamond Nationals in July, but the sprint cars are big in 2012.
Absolutely. One thing we want to do is bring the National Tour here more often, so we did add a race on June 23rd. Will be the finale of the Sizzlin' Summer Speed Weeks Tour, so that should be a great show on June 23rd.
One other event that we haven't already talked about, the Monster Trucks coming here to Lucas Oil Speedway. Talk us about that event in late July.
Yeah, we're in Hickory County, Missouri. Everybody here loves monster trucks, something I've been wanting to do for 3 years, and we're going to have that July 28th. We'll have Bigfoot as the headliner, and we'll have 5 trucks, a ride-along truck, stunt motorcycles. We'll have quite a show that night.
And, of course, you do have the tractor pullers coming in. That's always a huge event in September.
Yeah, it sounds like we have just huge event after huge event, but sure. September 15th this year will be the Pro Pulling League. We usually have around 80 vehicles, and we added a class this year, so should have even more than that.
All right, last year was the first event of the drag boat facility. That was a huge event. You had dirt late models, the MLRA that night. That was a big day. What about this year in 2012 for the professional drag boat?
Well, we're going to have 2 of those events this year. The first one will be June 8th through 10th, be the John Haas Memorial Drag Boat Classic, and we'll actually run our weekly show on that Saturday night, so give those guys, a chance to run in front of a huge crowd. And then the second one will be Labor Day weekend, a great holiday weekend here in the lake area for the 2nd annual Diamond Drag Boat Nationals, and we will be running the Lucas Oil MLRA that night as well on Saturday night.
One other touring series that's already been off to a hot and heavy start here in 2012 at other facilities are the United States Modified Touring Series. You got those guys coming in August?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a hunt race. I believe it's August 11th. Love the USMTS cars. I was up at Humboldt last week. They put on a great show everywhere they go, and they should be no exception here.
And, of course, a very successful weekly program. You've added a class to your weekly racers this year. Talk about that.
Yeah, we really didn't have as entry-level a class as I was hoping for. And I know B-mods aren't exactly entry-level, but it was more entry than what we had. So we have 4 solid classes. I expect really big car counts. We've got great class sponsors coming back this year, so really looking for big things in the weekly series this year.
What are fans going to see that might be different than what they were here last year? You've done some always upgrades to the facility. What are some of the things that fans can see for the first time in 2012?
Well, we just continue. We worked on the drag boat lake last year, and we had to leave some things unfinished for that first event. So we've just tidied up, turn 1 and 2 area. We'll have fresh sod planted in the turns and new sidewalk around it. We've added a candy shack for the kids. Just more and more of everything. More events, more entertainment, more stuff.
Now, fans want to make Lucas Oil Speedway a regular stop to their racing schedule. Are there ticket programs that they can get involved with that would benefit fans who come on a regular basis?
Absolutely. We have a great season pass program. The top 6 rows on our front stretch are reserved chairback seats, and so you can buy that season pass. The prices vary depending on which package and age groups and different things, but it's all available on our website at lucasoilspeedway.com, or they can call the track office at 417-282-5984, and Sherry can give you all the details on that.
And you got plenty of room for if you want to bring down the camper, especially during the Dart Show Me 100 weekend.
Yeah, we've got over 40 acres of new campground back in the woods. Great, majestic camping, fishing ponds, gravel roads, a beautiful place to camp.
I didn't hear a racing series that isn't coming to Lucas Oil Speedway. Scott, it's a jam-packed schedule.
It really is, and the one I'm looking forward to, obviously we have the earlier date, the second date for the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series presented by MAV TV, but the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial is one event that I know a lot of fans from this area, including myself, are looking forward to.
And it's a beautiful facility, and again, it all kicks off on April the 14th. Here with the Lucas Oil MLRA, the headline attraction, and of course the Dart Show Me 100 over Memorial Weekend. For Scott Traylor, I'm Kirk Elliott from Lucas Oil Speedway on RacinBoys TV.